was not my son that was lying there. He was skinny. There was not a part in his body that there was no sores. He was blue, he couldn't talk, he couldn't open his eyes.
So he didn't look like your child?
No, not at all.
Any kids who actually wants training to be a game ranger or discipline or who wants army training, we will give them. If there's kids who's got a problem, we will never take them in ever again.
I hate them. I hate them. When I was up on the stand, they couldn't even look me in the eyes because they know they lied to me. They know the truth, but they're fighting it. Because Raymond was ADHD, he wanted to do everything. Very outgoing, loved all his balls, liked to play outside. He was active, very active.
Always in trouble, Raymond was about to be expelled from school. His mother decided the only solution was to send him to the Echo Wild Ranger Camp, 20 kilometers outside of Boeremag, where Wilna believed her wild child would get some discipline and a qualification to become a game ranger. She immediately took a liking to the camp's owner, General Alex de Koker.
He was a really good man, good looking, well dressed, everything was neat. We made jokes, we laughed. I really thought I was leaving my son in a very good man's hands.
Alex is the father of 9 children and came across as a family man. She didn't know he is also ex-military and until recently a member of the AWB. He is now a general in the Boeremag, a right-wing organization that broke away from the AWB after Eugene Terblanche was murdered. The Boeremag claims to be in the business of protecting farmers. Wilna also didn't know that in 2006 and 2007, 2 other young men died at de Koker's paramilitary camps, which seemed to be less about game ranging than training young recruits for Boeremag activities. De Koker stood trial for the murder of Eric Karlitz and received a suspended sentence. He had bleeding on the brain and it was alleged he was dragged behind a bakkie. He was never tried for the death of Nicolas van der Walt, who died of a heart attack at the camp. Oblivious to these previous deaths at the camp, Wilna decided that the Echo Wild Rangers course would be good for Raymond. She paid de Koker 22,000 rand in fees and dropped her son off in January 2012.
I was so proud of him that day. We were standing outside, we were not allowed to go onto the premises, we had to go say goodbye in front of the gate. I hugged him and I kissed him and we laughed and like a strong, he was so proud of himself as well. He took his bags and we said goodbye. What I can basically say was the last time I saw him alive.
The first 3 weeks he was rough. After 3 weeks you could have seen a difference in him. But yeah, and then he just decided, well, I'm not going to work with you guys. I'm going to work against you guys.
Hannes is also ex-AWB and now an instructor at another Boeremag training camp near Swartruggens in the Northwest Province. He owns a business repairing butchery equipment and is Alex de Koker's closest friend and confidant.
He's very soft. He's a soft person. He helps everybody. It's not like me. If Raymond were with me, I can tell you straight away, he wouldn't even last for 2 weeks by me.
Weeks went by and Wilna kept on calling de Koker to find out how his son was doing. He assured her Raymond was doing well. When she tried to visit the camp, Alex told her Raymond did not want to see her. De Kooker eventually sent her photographs of Raymond, and he was extremely thin. She knew something was wrong.
My kid was thin. I asked Alex what was wrong with Raymond's face, and he said to me, no, it's sunburn. He was a master liar. Every question I asked, he had a good answer for. I believed him.
But Hannes insists Raymond was causing a lot of trouble.
He was like walking in, in front of everybody and playing with himself, and maybe he just takes his thing out and piss next to the house where he's sleeping, or he just there. He doesn't go to the toilet, he doesn't wash himself, he doesn't look after himself. Sometimes we catch him with a pig's food in his pocket, eating pig's food. I mean, he did get enough food.
He was very thin.
Well, if you listen to the audio, you will see that he was eating like minimum 10 times a day.
The audio Hannes is talking about is a 2-hour-long set of recordings made by de Kooker. In the recordings, he seemingly harangues Raymond, who's incoherent, and then tells him he loves him.
Dis nie die eerste keer dat jy nou net so my langs die huis gee daar langs my venster daar. Nou doen jy se waar is die dit weer 'n keer net hier langs my. Hoekom Raymond? Hoekom? Nou hoekom poef jy langs my venster? Daar's 2 badkamers in die huis. Hoekom? Jy kan nie van ons verwag om jou reg te behandel nie. Wil jy jou ma met jou in 'n inrigting sit? Wil jy ooit weer jou ma en jou boetie en jou pa sien? Ek sal my bel vat en jou loosing gee. Verstaan jy vir my? Ja, meneer. Maar jy kan my maar 'n drukkie gee. Ek is lief vir jou, hoor jy? Okay.
But was Raymond ill, or had he been beaten so badly that he couldn't talk properly?
Ek voel nie lekker nie. Okay, jy moet gee daai pilletjie jou kans. Jy het nou klaar geëet, jou pensie is vol. Hoor jy? Ja, meneer. Okay, dankie vir vandag, né? Dis 'n plesier, meneer. Was lekker geweest. Ja, meneer.
Raymond's roommate Gerard Oosthuizen has told the Vereniging Magistrates Court that Raymond was tied to a flagpole and then chained to his bed for several weeks.
The new South African flag.
He was so ill he couldn't do the hard labor. He was forced to eat his own feces and washing powder. Gerard claims Raymond was strapped naked to a chair and electrocuted. But de Kooker told Wilma that Raymond was self-harming. Wilna eventually got to speak to her son on the 12th of March.
And I said to him, Raymond, why are you doing all these things to yourself? You will lose your arms. I mean, how can you do this? And next thing, I heard Alex in the background, but Raymond was always on speakerphone. And Raymond said to me, Mom, I'm not doing this to myself. I'm not doing this to myself. Don't make me stressed.
On the 23rd of March, Wilna got a call from Alex to say Raymond was in the hospital.
The first day I saw him, I saw my son dying. I was just sitting there praying, hoping my son will be okay. He could never say a word to me. Sometimes he opened his eyes, but he was just staring. The one day I was talking to him and he opened his eyes and he was searching for me. And he found my eyes and there was a tear running out of his eye.
Raymond's body was broken. His arms and legs were covered in cigarette burns and sores that had turned septic, where he had allegedly been chained to a bed with handcuffs. He had been beaten with poles and bricks. Boiling water had been poured on his skin. His skull was fractured and he was emaciated.
Every day they told me that Raymond will not get better. That Raymond is brain dead.
Raymond died a month later. He was 15 years old. Hannes maintains Raymond was hurting himself. He was a troublemaker, and keeping the camps going is vital to the survival of the Boeremag.
We're not going to stop because of one guy who's dead. There's a problem in South Africa. They murder our Boere. We can't just leave it. We can't just leave it.
The trial of Alex de Kooke and his sergeant Michael Erasmus continues in the Vereniging Magistrates Court. Hannes hopes Alex will be found innocent and will open the camp again.
I promised him that I will make sure that Alex and Michael will not get away with his murder. That I will be there. I will do anything in my power to be there. That's a promise I made to him.
Anneke Larsen, Vereniging.
News that moves. enca.com.